Let's talk a little bit more about your collaboration with Marcia, because I'm just fascinated by this. You're going back and forth. You're hot potatoing. Do you take turns and say that this is the book that you're kind of going to take the lead on? This is your baby, and this one will be my baby, or is it together on every story?
Yeah, we were. I feel like we were together on every story. Maybe if one of us felt strongly that the story should go this way, especially in the beginning, we were like, okay, she must know what she's talking about. I think that kind of helped us to keep going, because when you're writing by yourself, it's so easy to get, oh, I can't do it, I'm just going to give up, But when you're writing with a partner, you do have to compromise, but they also give you a little bit of encouragement to keep you going. Because I know there were plenty of times I thought, oh, I should just give up. But if Marcia wasn't going to give up, I wasn't going to give up. So we kind of boosted each other's morale that way. And I think critique groups can be helpful that way too. If you have a group of writers who can support you and give you suggestions to make your story better, which I think we did for each other.
And so when did you write your first solo book?
When my daughter was born on a Sunday, and Disney called me on a Monday the next day and asked me to have an outline to them by Wednesday.
Really? And you told them that you just had a child, or did you leave that out?
I left that out. I said, of course.
You are ride or die, Debbie Dadey. That's
you just go and you do it, right?
Oh, I never want to hear an excuse from one of my writing students ever again about why they can't write. That's incredible.
Oh, baby, oh what? Don't be a wimp, right?
I guess not.
No, that was not easy. I won't say that it was easy. It was definitely not easy. But you do it.
No, I don't, but Debbie Dadey does.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was the first thing I wrote.
Do you write every day then?
I don't work on Sunday and Saturday, is family day or work in the yard day. But throughout the week, I get up at usually about 6, and depends on how late my dogs sleep. And I do social media and email until about 7 or 7:30, and then I start work.
And then what does your workday look like? How do you set specific times for I'm going to write from here to here? Or do you set a word count goal? How do you keep yourself on task?
Well, it's a lot easier now because I'm an empty nester, sadly. but I strive for 3 pages a day, which doesn't sound like much, but 3 pages a day throughout the year certainly adds up. So
well, that's a whole chapter, yeah.
Yeah, that's my goal for a day. But I don't have a set period of time, but I do pretty much work all day now. Breaks I have to have my 10 o'clock break to take the dogs for a walk, and my lunch break, and then my 2 or 3 o'clock break to take the dogs out. I usually end up in work about 4, but I've had something I've been working on that I've been working some at night too, but I usually don't do that.
And then are you just drafting during the day, or do you draft and then revise? Or
usually what I do is whatever I write, like day 1, day 2, I'll go back and rewrite that, see what I can do to make it better, and then that'll lead me into the next part of the story.
Okay. So you always leave yourself, that's another reason to come up with a good cliffhanger, or close as you can get to one for a chapter, right? So you've got something to go on the next day.
Yeah. When Marcia and I would do that to each other, we'd try to put the craziest cliffhangers we could to see what would happen next. Just a little twist to the story. Just for fun sometimes.
Just kind of try to one-up each other on the hot potato. Oh, that sounds fun.
I was very lucky to have her as a writing partner, but she taught me structure. I was more just write whatever you want, and I found that with structure, it makes story writing a lot easier for me anyway.
So do you, when you say structure, are you talking just standard story structure? Do you have some templates for the type of story that you want? What does structure look like? How do you know that you're following it?
Well, basically an outline or and the plot of like three bad things. When I talk to kids at school, I say, a lot of stories have the magic of three in them. There's the problem, it gets worse, and it gets worse. And so kind of having that arc of the problem getting worse and then the solution, and just basically outlining the story, which before I met Marsh and started working with her, I would just kind of write anything and not really have a plan. And I think having a plan helps you from getting lost in your story. I know a lot of kids tell me, oh, I started the story and it was really good, but then I didn't know what to do when I got to this certain point. I just quit. And I think a lot of that happens a lot with writers, because if you don't plan ahead of time and you don't know where your story is going, you might get lost along the way somewhere.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've been there, and I've also suffered the common trope of rewriting your beginning a million times to make sure it's perfect, and then never writing the rest of the novel.
Oh, yeah, that's easy to do. I know.
So do you draft all the way through to the end and then start revising at this point? Now that you're doing this solo, or is it still revise, draft, revise, draft, revise?
Yeah, I draft, revise, but not extensively. For when I'm working through the story, I just do like edits and real glaring problems of editing. But then after I'm finished, then I'll try to do more of a global revision.